Hello everyone, welcome to Department of Collegiate and Technical Education. So today I will going to present the presentation on course Electrical Power Generation. So in this course I am discussing in the Unit 2 nuclear, diesel and gas turbine power plants. So the purpose of this course electrical power generation is to study the different types of power generation methods and their schematic arrangements and their working principles and merits, demerits and site selection of each power plants and their applications. So today I will be taking the first session on this Unit 2. The topic is nuclear power plant. The contents included in this topic is introduction, nuclear fission and chain reaction, schematic diagram of a nuclear power plant and its working principle, main components of a nuclear power plant, site selection of a nuclear power plant, multiple choice questions and answers for the multiple choice questions. First is the introduction. So in the topic nuclear power plant, the nuclear energy is used for generating the electricity. So usually the nuclear consists of a heavy amount of energy which can be used for generating the electricity, that is the heat generated in the nuclear reactor will be utilized for generating the electricity. So as an introduction, a generating station which converts the nuclear energy into an electrical energy is called nuclear power plant. There are three types of nuclear reactions such as radioactive decay, nuclear fission and nuclear fusion. So these three methods are commonly used for generating a nuclear energy in a reactor. This three is also called as a nuclear reaction. So any of these three methods in the nuclear energy is generated. Next is, what is a nuclear fission? So the nuclear fission is a process which occurs when a neutron collides with nucleus of heavy atom. So then when fission takes place, because of the collision in the atom, a fast moving energy will be generated by the nuclear elements. And also the nucleus atoms get split into two or more unequal fragments which carry energy of fission process as a kinetic energy. So in the splitting of the nucleus atoms which carry the energy of fission process as a kinetic energy. During the process itself, a kinetic energy will be generated in the nuclear reactor. That means this fission is conducting in the nuclear reactor. The another method of generating nuclear energy is chain reaction. What is this chain reaction means? It is a process which neutrons keep on multiply, during which nuclear fission, still whole nuclear fuel is disintegrated. That is, during the nuclear fission, the neutrons get multiplying with each other until the nuclear fuel is disintegrated. So this is the another type of which is used in a nuclear reactor for generating the nuclear energy. Next we move on to the next topic, schematic diagram of a nuclear power plant and its working principles. The figure shows the schematic arrangement of a nuclear power plant. So it consists of atomic reactor, heat exchanger, steam valve, turbine, condenser, cooling tower, alternator, exciter, step-up transformer and bus bars. So these are all some of the main components of the nuclear power plant. So in the diagram, the main component is the atomic reactor. Here the nuclear fuels is going to be used and a nuclear reaction will be taking place in the reactor, either by chain reaction or a nuclear fission method. So during the nuclear fission, a large amount of energy, a fast moving energy will be generated in an atomic reactor. So it is connected to the heat exchanger, in which the heat from the reactor is transferred to the substance through this heat exchanger tubes. Usually a liquid substance is used as a heat transfer material. That is, a metal is going to be used to transfer the heat from the atomic reactor to the heat exchanger. The channel is provided inside the reactor. Through the inlet, a cold metal is sent to the atomic reactor, and in the exit a hot metal is coming out of the reactor, which is passed to the heat exchanger. So in this, a filter and pump is used for circulating of a metal substance. So the heat exchanger will consist of a heat exchanging tubes. So below we will see the condenser, cooling tower, river and the pumps. So from water from the river is circulated or pumped as a feed water to the heat exchanger. So whenever a feed water is entering into the heat exchange and the water is converted into a steam, that is dry steam has been obtained by the heat exchanger. This steam is passed to the turbine through the steam valve. when the steam enter into the turbine blades are start rotating because of the high pressure and high temperature of the steam. So turbine is coupled to the alternator. So the rotation of the turbine will transfer to the alternator, which is connected to the same shaft of the turbine, and alternator is also start rotating, and an exciter is connected to the alternator. So the electrical energy will be developed in the alternator. This developed electrical energy is sent to the transformer, which is step up, and again it is sent to the isolators, circuit breakers, and to the bus bars. So this is the process of generating the electrical energy. So coming to the condenser, that is the steam exhausted by the turbine will pass it to the condenser. The purpose of the function of a condenser is to convert the dry steam into a wet steam, and it is sent to the cooling tower. In the cooling tower, the wet steam is converted into a water. When it converted into a cool water, it is used as a feed water along with the river water. So both are combined, and again it is pumped back to the heat exchanger through the feed water pump. Again the cycle will be repeated. So this is the working principle of an nuclear power plant. Next is the main components of nuclear power plant. First one is nuclear reactor, second heat exchange, third prime mover or steam turbine, fourth alternator, fifth condenser and cooling system. So these are all the main components which we observed in the schematic arrangement of a nuclear power plant. Next, we will discuss the working of an nuclear power plant. So in a nuclear reactor, radioactive elements like uranium-235 and thorium and plutonium-239 are subjected to the nuclear fission reaction in the reactor. These two are used as a fuel in the nuclear reactor. So by this fuels, a nuclear fission reaction will be taking place in the reactor. These three substances are also called as an radioactive elements. So in this fission reaction, the nucleus of heavy atom splitter into parts by bombarding neutrons carried in a special reactor. The heavy atoms are splitted into parts by the bombarding, which is carried in a special reactor. During the nuclear fission, huge amount of energy is released. This heat energy released is used to raise the temperature and pressure to higher value. So as I was already told, the high pressure and high temperature steam generated in a nuclear reactor through the heat exchanger chamber is sent to the steam turbine through the valve. The steam turbine converts the heat energy into mechanical energy. So the turbine drives an alternator coupled to it on the same shaft, and then alternator converts mechanical energy into an electrical energy. Next topic is site selection of nuclear power plant. So before erection of the nuclear power plant, so there is some requirement for a site for the nuclear power plant. What are all those means? First one is availability of water. So the water is a substance which is converted into a steam, and then it is allowed to pass on the turbine. So the main requirement is availability of the water. So the site should be near the canal or river. The next requirement is disposal of the waste. So the waste coming from the power plant, which is very harmful for the environment, so the proper or a sufficient arrangement for the disposal of the radioactive waste should be available at the site. Next is distance from populated area. So always the site selected should be far away from the populated area. So the distance has to be known before erection of the power plant. The next requirement is transportation facility. The site should be accessible by roads and rails easily for transportation of equipments and machinery. So the transportation facility should be accessible, that is either roads or rails is also very much essential. Next is the nearness to the load centers. The site should be near to load centers to reduce the transmission cost and losses. So in order to reduce the transmission cost and the losses, the site should be near the load center. The next requirement is the cost of the land. So the cost of the land should be reasonable, so that the initial investment of the plant should be almost reduced. Next is the type of the land. The land should be a good bearing capacity to withstand the heavy equipments in the plants, because the equipments used is heavy, so the land should withstand this heavy equipments. So that completes the site selection requirement of an nuclear power plant. The next we move on to the nuclear power plant multiple choice questions. Here the questions should be prepared which is related to this session, which it is required to know the topic related questions. First is, among us the following, the fissionable materials are A. uranium-233 and plutonium-239, B. uranium-235 and plutonium-233, C. uranium-235 and plutonium-235, D. uranium-238 and plutonium-239. Which of these are the fissionable materials are uranium-233 and plutonium-239? That is A. A is the correct answer. Next, second one. A fission of 1 kg of uranium can produce energy as can be produced by the burning of dash tons of high grade coal. That is, 1 kg of uranium is equal to dash tons of high grade coal. The choices are A. 4000, B. 4500, C. 3500, D. 5000. The correct answer is B. 4500. So that much of tons of high grade coal is equal to for the fission of 1 kg of uranium. Third one. The first nuclear power plant in India is located at A. Kota, B. Kalapakam, C. Tarapur, D. Bareilly. The correct answer is C. Tarapur. In the Tarapur, the first nuclear power plant is located. Fourth, a nuclear fission produces energy of following order in mega electric volt. Answer is A. 20, B. 200, C. 2000, D. 20,000. The correct answer is B. 200. So it will generate the energy in the 200 MeV. Next, fifth, the process by which a heavy nucleus is splitted into two light nuclei is known as A. splitting, B. fission, C. fusion, D. disintegration. So the correct answer is fission. So in the nuclear fission, the heavy nucleus atom is splitted into two light nuclei. Next, sixth. The nuclear power plant at Tarapur has the following reactor: A. fast breeder, B. pressurized water, C. boiling water, D. none of the above. So in the Tarapur, a boiling water reactor is used. That is, answer is C. boiling water. That is, A. fast breeder is not, B. pressurized water is wrong, D. None of the above is wrong. Correct answer is C. Boiling water. Next, seventh is uranium-238 will undergo fission by A. High energy fast neutrons alone, B. Low energy slow neutrons alone, C. Either fast or slow neutrons, D. Medium energy neutrons. The correct answer is A. High energy fast neutrons alone. So the uranium-230 will undergo fission by the high energy fast neutrons alone. So usually the liberation of the neutrons will be during the fission is fast. Next, eighth one. Plutonium is produced by A. as basic raw material, B. by neutron irradiation of uranium, C. by neutron irradiation of thorium, D. artificially. The correct answer is by neutron irradiation of uranium. The plutonium is produced by neutron irradiation of uranium. Ninth, uranium-233 is produced A. Choices are A. as basic raw material, B. by neutron irradiation of uranium, C. by neutron irradiation of thorium, D. artificially. The correct answer, the uranium-233 is produced by neutron irradiation of thorium. Next, 10th. Plutonium-239 is produced. Choices are as basic raw material, B. by neutron irradiation of it, C. by neutron irradiation of thorium, D. artificially. The correct answer is B. by neutron irradiation of it. Plutonium-239 is produced by neutron irradiation of it. Next, multiple choice questions, answers. First A, for second B, for third C, fourth B, fifth B, sixth C, seventh A, eighth B, ninth C, 10th B. In this session, we have discussed what is a nuclear fission, types of nuclear reactions and chain reactions, and schematic arrangement of the nuclear power plant, and the working principle of a nuclear power plant, and site selection factors to be considered for a nuclear power plant, and related multiple choice questions. So the main course outcome of this topic is explain in detail nuclear power plant, that is working, components and operation of the nuclear power plant has to be explained in detail. So this is about the session 1 discussion of the nuclear power plant. So thank you.